Hello again, this is Plato. As you can see, I'm a little further up ahead in the game. Just want to get to the next area and cut through some of the cutscenes. Now, I realized. Okay, yeah. I kind of realized that a lot of viewers who might be watching this don't really know who I am or what I'm doing here. But I am a nurse scientist, and my particular field of study is with mental health, mental illness, and I'm particularly interested in how video games kind of fit into that. So, right, I'm also a game nerd, as you can see here. If you need further evidence, look at the other channels, other videos I have. I technically have another channel, but that's at the point here. So I've been a nurse for it's been over 14 years. Been a psych nurse for at least 10 of those, and a nurse practitioner for about 4. Oh goodness, it'll be 5 years coming up. And again, all mental health. So games can help with video games, but games in general can help with mental health. Mental health in general. But what games? How? These are the questions that we're kind of looking into. The research I'm about to put forward will help address some of that. But the point of this channel is to kind of highlight anything particularly interesting I want to share with any of you. So again, if you have any questions or any ideas you want explored, leave a comment, subscribe, and look forward to more. Again, any views on this channel or this video in general are my personal opinions. I'm a nurse practitioner, but I'm not your nurse practitioner unless you hire me. This is all for entertainment and educational value, as much education as you can get from this, but you never know, right? You might learn something new. A couple episodes ago, I was talking about a study by Reams and colleagues. If you look it up, you will find a number of articles. Again, I was working off of memory, so don't hold that against me. But one particular article that I had to look up again was Reams and colleagues, and it was trends. Give me a second here. Yes. Trends in video game play through childhood, adolescence, and emerging adulthood. Think young adults, right? Young adults I define as anything below 30, 33. I see about 33 is about middle adulthood. So, Reams, Elliott, and Dunlap, 2013. This is from like 12 years ago. They're looking at if video games and you have video game addiction, games can be addicting, right? Are they as addicting as substances? That's not really explored in this study, but what is explored is, is there certain things associated with problematic video game play, game addiction? Are there things associated with just gaming behavior in general? From the study itself, age was negatively associated with playing games and addiction. The older you are, the less likely you are to be addicted, and the less likely you are to be playing games, period. Alright? Being employed and being in college, negatively associated with gaming. No association with... I can't say there's no association, but they didn't find any. Junk food and caffeine were associated with both gaming and addiction. So again, people who are younger, people who are eating junk food, people who are have that's my mouse. People who are drinking caffeine are more likely to be playing more and more likely to be addicted. That's just a cursory glance at the literature, right? This study. How does this fit in with what I found in my study, right? My study, we're looking at. I'm not going without going into too much detail, but my age range was much like greater, right? I think the youngest person I had was like 26. The oldest person that Reams and colleagues had that these researchers found were like 29. That's the oldest, whereas my oldest was like 72. So my age range was like very vast. This one they're looking specifically at young adults, or younger, obviously, but yeah, it was 18 to 29, I think. Now then, being employed and being in college is negatively associated with gaming. I mean, if you have other things to do, you'd be playing less, right? If you are more free, you're playing more. Anyone watching this, if you're in college, if you have like part-time work versus full-time work, you're not playing as much as you would like to be. I'm guessing, right? Especially if you're like still like early adulthood, adolescence. You probably have friends that are like maybe even playing this game and are further up than you are. Excuse me. It's not unusual to kind of feel like you want to keep up, but it's not realistic if you're going to sacrifice real life to do that. Negatively associated. That is consistent with the findings that I have as well. Again, like I had older participants in my study who are playing games, 72 years old, 54. I think about 5 of my participants are over the age of 50. So, or at least over the age of 40. And were they playing as much as they used to? Not really. They have aging parents, they have young children, they have jobs, they have all these stuff they're doing. They're not going to be playing as much. So, how does this affect using games as a means of coping, I guess you could say, right? How is this going to be working with mental illness or mental health? What the heck is he doing? Okay, I don't think I can show that on here. Anyway, there are other topics talking about games as a coping mechanism, right? I can still hear it. Damn. Get away from that. Give him some privacy there. So, these are just factors to keep in mind when you're considering using games for coping, for this, for that. Now, regards to coping, I'll touch on this in a little bit later on, maybe in this video. There's a term, phrase. When it comes to coping, there's approach coping and avoiding coping. When you're approaching a problem, you're avoiding the problem. And I'll go into more detail, but when it comes to problematic video game play or game addiction, a lot of the risk comes with using games as your only means of coping. You're avoiding your issues. Okay, sorry, I got distracted there. If you're using games to avoid your issues entirely, then you're not really going to be addressing them. That's pretty much obvious, right? But that's not necessarily in certain situations where you really can't do anything anyway. Like, say chronic pain, for instance. Again, not mental health, but let's say PTSD. Let's say you're trying to find a way to kind of calm down your response to certain triggers. Well, that's an interesting animation. Never saw him do that, actually. Anyway, yeah, you're basically trying to calm down the response, the stress response you get when you're triggered. You need something to help distract you from that. Games can do that. However, if you do that, that would be avoidant coping. You're not really addressing the problem. I can go over a study or the research journal that discusses it in more detail. But let me give you my perspective here, right? When it comes to avoidant coping, it's not necessarily a bad thing in short term. If you are avoiding to retreat, to regroup, and to recharge, so you can tackle the problem a little better rested, better level-headed, I guess you could say, that's fine. It's not bad to have a little escape every now and then. You don't need to face your problems head on all the time, especially if it's not productive to do that. What I mean, everyone needs to rest every so often. And that's kind of the point I'm trying to promote with my research. Can games do that? If games can do that, what are the best ways to do that? What are the best games to use? That's another thing too. The other study I was referring to with Reams and colleagues, I can't remember the rest of the names, discuss specific genres having an effect on addictive gaming, problematic video game play. I have to look it up again. I had it saved somewhere. But that's another factor to consider. Some games really aren't that good for health. Some games aren't healthy. There's some TV that's not healthy either, but what would make things healthy? What would make things good? Things that, opinion here, things that are mentally active, things that aren't like grinding, I guess you could say, right? And I discussed that in the first episode, I believe, as well. But enough of that. Let's get into this game here. Let me see if I can get some examples. Again, I put it in French just because. Trying to learn through osmosis. Can I grab that? Yes, I can. Color Rouge. Oh, okay, well, guess I'm forcing it that way. I do like that. Okay, when you're on the little bird, the Sencret, I can't pronounce it. Just Chocobo. Just that's exactly what it is. No, you can't convince me otherwise. But yeah, when you're on that thing, it moves you forward toward the objective automatically. You can't slow down. Or you can't slow down. You can't just stop. You have to go around circles. You can't just park yourself during a story. Mm. Oh, that's neat. Yeah, little things like this I would miss on the bird. Little things like this. Oh, okay. Oh, then. Alright. That. Okay. Yeah, that works as advertised. Gotcha. Alright, yeah. That's enough screwing around. Let's see here. Mm-hmm. I do not have that thing equipped. Thought I did. Well, what you gonna do? Is that a French meow? Gross specimen. Okay. It's kind of funny, like, the cutscenes are, like, I mean, yeah, it's better graphics than the actual game, duh. It's because it's pre-rendered. You know, it's I'm actually gonna be doing these actions. Useful allies. It's definitely a step up from the last game, or from World, I should say. Do I have permission to hunt it? Implied? It's still not down? It's down now. Yeah, I kind of figured as much. It's kind of hard to aim for that with this weapon. It's really hard to aim with that attack. Yeah, stupid me. Wow. I mean, I know I'm in low rank, but like, I did not expect to just die that quickly. It's an interesting fight, but like, so those little flower petals things can paralyze you. I was never at risk of getting hit into that, but I imagine this kind of fight can get kind of frantic if it like were to like interrupt another fight or something. You know, like it's not meant to be just be fighting this by itself. What is that? No, I don't want that. Oh. Yeah, I'm still not. But this was very effective. Let's see here. Another tier was unlocked. That's great. Attack boost and guard. This is just brute force. Shelling type wide. I don't know what to make of that. Power slightly strong versus slightly weak. Offensive guard. I will say, like, I've been kind of like hitting those things pretty consistently. And a 10% boost would be pretty strong in itself. And I don't do the shelling as much as I would like. But I kind of like what I have now. Long and guard up. And it's very strong for what it is. Has good sharpness. And most importantly, I can make it. But nah. So wait, this thing is weak to fire. I have a fire weapon. That checks out. I'm not about to drop this armor for paralysis resistance, which I was not an issue anyway. I just avoid the little flowers. It's kind of redundant. Honey Hunter? No. Recovery up. It's kind of nice, but no. No. This looks cool. I forgot I can upgrade him too, or her, or whatever this is actually. But a paralysis weapon sounds lovely. Oh, yeah, with the mustache. With the little mustache, that's not so much with that though. I think this wins out. And the bowguns, yes, I got to handle this too. Yep, that's it. Doesn't really give me much else. Well then I guess that will work instead. This I'm used to. I'm sure this is better, but yeah, I'll just do that. I mean, I'll be using a spread shot anyway. I'll be up close regardless. I guess I should do that too. We'll see how it works. I have items that I need to put away. Yeah. $39. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Can I fast travel there? I most certainly can. When I first played Monster Hunter Worlds, I had no idea about fast travel. I saw people do it, never got around to it. I was like played like 70 hours before I realized you can just do that. Go to your map and just hover and press A. No one tells you. I don't think that's what they're saying. Nothing says respect the force like take everything. Okay, I do like how like I'm playing on PC. I played on Xbox originally, and like that little scene right there, they would have been like 15 frames a second. Press A. No, I won't. What was this? No, I want that. Not that. There we go. Okay, so alligators. Okay, I'm not gonna look at that right now. Oh, definitely yes to that. That is always welcomed. Okay, that's why. So I got lost last time I played this game. So like when I first started playing, I completely can understand people who just simply get lost trying to get back to here without the guidance. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like I was gonna walk right over that and avoid it if I didn't get off the bird. And what's with riding birds? There's a lot of games that have that for some reason. Oh, okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. Let's take a look here. Heck yes. Okay, I don't know what you get on that. Oh. Yeah, I am forced to walk, which is appropriate. I am curious though. Oh, okay, yeah. If I if it wasn't like that, yeah. If I was higher up, I could like aim a slinger at it and fire it off just to get a free hit. the last time this thing was in a game was in Beyond Monster Hunter Generations. Was on like the 3DS, 2011. I forget when. It was like over a decade ago. I know that much. It didn't seem too threatening. But this, like its size and the claws. It's more than just humor. If you get hit by that, you can't recover. You can't eat or drink anything for a little while, which makes sense. Or roll around. Normally that's you saw by now. Okay, well then, let's take it to water. I don't like how the camera's automatically focused on it. Like I am trying my best. Come on, come on. Still nothing, huh? Alright, so the thing in its tail is actually a parashroom. It'll eat that and get that attack will be replaced with a paralysis attack. Like it's doing now. Oh. I know there's stuff there. I'm not gonna get that right now. just gonna get that ahead of time. Oh, poisons, okay. I forgot you can do that. Mm-hmm. Try to charge again. Mm-hmm. Well, he recovered. He recovered faster getting shot in the face with a cannon than I did from the recoil. I'm in the corner. Oh. Sure. Oh, okay, well. I know me means friend. Uh-huh. Keep an eye out and then talk to these people. Gotcha. Or cats. Side quests, talk to these people. This person's the fisher. And get stuff done. So all that was just one chapter. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Goodness gracious. I think that's all for hunting for this episode. So let's talk a little more here. I mentioned before that certain games can help, certain games can hurt. And I was referring to a study by Kuhn and colleagues, Kuhn et al., I believe, either 2013, 2018. It's been a while. I think it might be 2014 actually. But they have found that certain genres of video games can shrink or increase the gray matter volume of parts of your brain. So, a game like this, it's kind of hard to say, right? It's like, what do you get out of the game? That's not the finding of the research. That's just my personal opinion, my take on it, right? For action games and sports management games, oh no, I'm getting confused. Action games and RPGs will shrink the entorhinal cortex, a little part in the middle of your brain there, the gray matter volume that is. And puzzle games and 3D adventure or platforming games would increase it. So it gives. I think in the case of the RPGs and the first-person shooters, or the really popular games that would decrease that part of the brain, what's happening is you're not really thinking, you know? Like, you're just kind of grinding. With RPGs, you're grinding to get to the next level, you're navigating menus to do certain things. It's not gonna help you in the long run. Lost connection? What? Okay. Alright, well, let's... whatever, it's fine. Let's look at this lake for a little bit. Okay. So, anyway. Oh, excuse me. So, with this game, Monster Hunter, if you're just doing things randomly, you're not really going to progress far. When I first started playing this game was back in like 2009, and that was on the original Wii. And I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but like I played like any other game. I tried using the lance, didn't work out. I went to greatsword, and it's a huge freaking weapon, and the damage numbers are super high, so it's like, okay, this should work out just fine. And you can block? Great. But if you didn't position yourself correctly, you're not hitting anything anyway. So the 3D platforming thing, it's like every interaction became like a little puzzle in itself, right? With very fast moving consequences. Matter of perspective, but still, it was fast for the time. Things are a lot more fluid in the modern games. In the old games, I guess you would say it's kind of like the quote unquote PlayStation 2 graphics. I'm doing quotation marks in real life. Um, but the animations were janky. Like you had kind of janky animations, the enemies had janky animations, and you had to commit to those animations to do an action. So you can't just cancel it halfway through. So to progress, you have to get good and practice these to plan ahead. Okay, okay, cat. Oh, okay. He has a fishing rod before I do. No, I have a fishing rod. What are you talking about? I do, okay. Anyway, I just had to check. I thought she unlocks it. You just have it up by default. So, when you're learning something, when you're getting something out of it beyond just like, oh, this looks pretty or whatnot, that satisfaction is, at least that's what drew me to these games. You know, I played this franchise before Dark Souls, for instance. Right? So I try a game like Final Fantasy, and I have friends and family who love that franchise, but I don't see what you get out of it in the modern titles. Right? It really is just kind of grindy. Like you're planning ahead, obviously, and eventually the work you put in is gonna pay off in the end. But again, back to the research at hand. How does this relate to that? If a game like this is not as grindy as other games, in the old games you had to play the same thing over and over again to get the armor or gear or whatnot. But if you're playing with like friends, then it's not so bad. You know, the grind is more tolerable. But not just that either. If the grind itself, if the experience is what you're after, then that grind, you're just getting more of this, more of what you want. You're here for this, you know? Is that enough? Again, this isn't evidence-based or anything like that. I'm just thinking out loud at this point. Is this good for your brain? And if it's not good for your brain, is it just okay in moderation? Of course, everything's good in moderation. But like, should you be playing this less than other games? Are there other things you should be picking up instead? Right? Personal opinion, I'm a bit biased, but I would say this game's a little better than Final Fantasy. I'm sure some of the comments would disagree. But is it better for you than those traditional RPGs? Are action RPGs better, healthier for game players? And why? This thing's pushing me. Am I in the way or something? I'm just... Okay. Alright, I'm over here now. Invisible wall. Okay, that's kind of sucks, but whatever. I don't know how I didn't even see that there before, but whatever. So... Who? Why? There's nothing here. This is my. Okay. You know what? Oh. Okay. All right. Well then, I'm gonna just stare at this for a while then. Stop being a weirdo. All right. So, almost lost my train of thought there. What games are good for you and why? Does this game count as one? In moderation, yeah, definitely. Is it just mindless spamming things? No. Is it mindless grinding? It can be. And if it gets to that point, you may as well just not play as much. It'd be okay in short bursts, but no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want you playing this more than like an hour a day, if anything. Which I should be cutting this off now. I'm not sure how long this has been running for. Well, if you want to hear more about this, tune in next time and I'll continue from there. This is Plato signing off.